Well, good morning. Good morning, all. Hello. Wait, let me do it proper. It is June 18th, 2024. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the BlueGamer Bluecast morning show, the daily video game morning talk show where I, a professional video game enthusiast of 30 plus years, Adam Blue, will cover news and industry insights along with what I've been getting into. So, that sounded pretty good, didn't it? So, all right, Ultronymous, good to see you. Still in the dark. That was Guilty Gear X. Jim Kell X, good to see you. Okay, we've got this morning started. Well, here's something. I'm going to have to make this a more interesting show because in an hour or so, Nintendo's having their direct. It might not have a lot of crazy stuff. There's some rumors I'll talk about here shortly. But, this is one of those directs where initially Nintendo by now would have announced potentially release the Switch 2, and they haven't. So a lot of the stuff that they're going to be announcing are things that they just keep in their pocket. So that's why I'm going to try to make this episode about something else, just because immediately after, not immediately, but 30 minutes after is going to be the Nintendo Direct. Should I live stream the Direct? Maybe, but that just cuts into my actual day job time. So maybe in the future. Well, to start, what did I get into this past day when it comes to video games? Monday gives me a chance to talk about the weekend. Tuesday gives me a chance to talk about Monday. And are Mondays that exciting? They can't be. So, for one, the only game I played was Castlevania, Portrait of Ruin. I got the first ending, which is when there's these twin sisters. Once you beat them, you kind of get the bad ending. And then, what did I do? I then went and did the thing where you don't really beat them. It's kind of a thing where you have to try to heal them. And then it unlocks to get, the real last boss. One of the other endings. So, and it's funny, I did this on DS at the beginning of the year, doing it again on emulator. And these games are a breeze and so enjoyable to just play through. For me, now out of all games, the Castlevania games are the most chill, even though it doesn't seem like it at first, but the chill, sit back, play through, enjoyable experience. It doesn't take too long because since it's been 6 months since the beginning of the year, I played through 6 or so, or 5 of these Castlevania games. A couple of them I beat multiple times. That's kind of weird, but it is what it is. They don't take up too much time to get some fun out of them. That's what's cool about them. If it happens when you aren't working, I think it'd be cool. Yeah, any time that I have some time off, a lot of times I'm just playing games anyway. I wouldn't mind doing that. Yeah, or if it's a big deal show, like the ones that came this past weekend, or was it the weekend before? Yeah, all those announcements, Summer Games Fest stuff, there was not one time where I felt like, oh, I have to live, but it depends what it is that I would live cast, stream, talk it. Okay. Another thing that's really cool, and it's another video game action figure, but I got the M. Bison action figure from Jada Toys. This one, it's supposed to be a wide release, but it's not everywhere yet. So I saw it on eBay for a good price, pretty much the same price as if I was going to get it in store. So I went ahead and grabbed it. He does also come with a cape with interchangeable shoulder pads, so you can get what kind of look you want. But I got to say, I just love these. These just look like what I would expect to jump out of that video game back in the 90s, that second one. Although this is supposed to be more based on Ultra. Still, these are just my thing. Street Fighter's not even one of my favorite games ever. It's a good game, and this is just classic for me. So I love this stuff. And they've got more coming, like Dulcim. I've got that order that should be coming soon. It actually comes with interchangeable limbs that are long. So I'll be interested to see how that is, and if it has bendy arm stuff going on. I just kind of have them over in the corner by my retro display, where I have a screen with one of my retro game consoles. I have a bunch of Street Fighter figures there. It looks nice. I'll have to show it off sometime. Okay, so yeah, I guess we can move on to some more interesting information. What did I pull up here? Okay, Batten Kato's, Batten Kato's, however you pronounce it, got its remaster that just, I guess I totally forgot about this. Not that I don't think I would play it just because it's that type of JRPG. But it's just, this is cool. Bandai Namco, remastering an older game. They know when they have a game that is successful. So yeah, very cool. And I think, and I wonder if this was, I could have looked it up, but I could look it up now. But who developed it back when it first came out? I think the original 2003 release on GameCube. Anyway, Ultron was saying surprised it's not a Switch exclusive. That's true. So it was one of those things probably where Nintendo didn't care. So Bandai Namco was like, all right, well, we'll just, but on PC, more people will play it that way, potentially. Yeah, and it is on Switch. So not Xbox or PlayStation. Actually, yeah, I'm more surprised it's not on PlayStation at all, since it's on PC. I don't know. That's very interesting. Oh, it's a classic for sure. Developer, Monolith Soft. That's right. I knew it was a classic developer. Okay. Well, let's move on. Forza 5. I maybe played a minute of this. The one I played was like Forza Horizon 2, right? I played through and beat it, and not all the DLC, but it was like one of those where since then I feel like, well, I've played Forza Horizon, so I didn't bother with any others. But they've done some cool things. Like they had the Hot Wheels tracks they added, which added some more aerial stuff. I don't know. I don't think I checked it out. But they also have like the Jurassic Park Jeep coming to it. Even the Back to the Future DeLorean. And it also has Kit from Knight Rider. So, I don't know. I haven't played Forza 5, but I think I'm in the market for a racing game. Again, I haven't really played them in a while, especially the open world racing is really not my thing because there's a lot of dead time. But it's just cool to see. Yeah, I wonder. Okay, here we go. Each time machine. Oh, so each time machine. Wow. Features a unique look and visual effects once you hit 88 miles per hour. That seems pretty cool to experience. Is it worth it? I don't know. Yeah, because they're talking about they did the Fast X car pack. So it's like Forza's pretty cool. I just haven't bothered with the newer ones at all. So yeah, where's the Batmobile? Yeah, that would. Yeah, which one? But yeah, that would be cool to have in here. And that's interesting because they have the Hot Wheels game which is fun too, and it has like licensed vehicles. The difference is this is realistic, and so it's more engaging, I guess. I don't know. I might jump into it and try it out because wasn't it one of the top rated games of 2021? Yeah, it's one of those things where I think it's just basic, it's just a racing game, just Forza, but people like it. Okay, what else did I have here? Yeah, I thought this was interesting. A long-abandoned Game Boy Advance game is finally out now. So it's a game called Kien, a Game Boy Advance title that was originally slated to be released in 2002. Yeah, so review copies of Kien went out to contemporary gaming magazines, including Nintendo Power, but the game was pulled before its release. 2 subsequent release attempts also fell through. Interesting. I wonder why it didn't get picked up. So, looking at it, it looks like a 2002 Game Boy Advance game, which could still be fun. It could. It just, kind of looks that way. So, but it's neat looking, and that's kind of my thing, like the old school games and something that wasn't available to play, and now it is. So yeah, digital version is now available, and a GBA cartridge release will follow later. So let's see. Okay, interesting. So I found. Oh yeah, it was right here. I found it. I thought it would like take me to a Steam page, but it's in Cube 8 Games. I mean, it's just $9.99, so it's not like it's expensive or anything. And it comes with the ROM. So, so is this maybe it requires a Game Boy Advance emulator to play. That might be worth it. I'm gonna have to save this for later. Because again, it doesn't look amazing, but then again, like it's 2002, and sometimes those games can still be good. So I'll check that out. Next up, Street Fighter. You know, speaking of Street Fighter, I'm surprised I haven't played this yet. Street Fighter 6, because I used to love fighting games so much, and I feel like there was an attempt to there was too much of an attempt, in my just opinion, and it might not be the case, where fighting games started just being less unique, and so it was harder for me to get interested, right? Because I still want to play King of Fighters 15, the new Guilty Gear Grave or something, I don't know. Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8. I haven't done any of those, and I can't believe I haven't yet. But also they announced M. Bison. I guess he wasn't in the original roster, but he's in now. So yeah, a little gif of him wearing that suit from that action figure I have, which is pretty cool. But what's neat is they also have Terry Bogard from Fatal Fury. So that's cool that they're doing that crossover like that. Because then we have the City of the Wolves, I think it's called. That's a Fatal Fury game coming out soon. So it's like, man, all the fighting games are out, and I just have not been playing them. Jim Killex is saying it plays really well. So yeah, I need to... Oh, Mai is joining too. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is crazy. And then I think Elena from Third Strike. Yeah, they have like some pictures of her, a bunch of different characters. Well, I guess they're just saying welcome back. But anyway, I need to just play it in the first place. I just heard like the campaign mode is a little different, but it still could be cool. Because I kind of like fighting games where they just have the classic like story mode of your character fights these certain characters, and then they have their ending scene or whatever. Yeah, I remember our Dreamcast doing that with Soul Calibur, Dead or Alive 2. Fun stuff. Okay, so I was talking about that Nintendo Direct that could be happening. Is going to be happening here this morning. And some leaks that came out that could be related, maybe. So Papagenos seems to believe Metroid Prime 4 is releasing this fall. Also comments on 2D Zelda appearing in tomorrow's Nintendo Direct. So I would believe a Metroid Prime 4 would come out this fall. Nintendo would need a big game this fall. I would even say two different kinds. Having that first-person Metroid Prime 4 along with the 2D Zelda is a very unique blend of different game types they could be releasing. And I don't know how much. So this other thing with Metroid Prime 4 is they could do this where they release it on Switch this fall, and then when Switch 2 comes out next year, there's the Switch 2 version of it, which they did that with Twilight Princess. They did that with Breath of the Wild. It's not uncommon for them to release a game on a previous platform and then come out with the other version. So I would think Zelda and Metroid Prime 4 would make sense. For the 2D Zelda though, I wonder what they would do. Would they maybe that, what was it? The A Link Between Worlds, I think it was, on 3DS, would they just make it work on Switch? Maybe that could be a good idea. If that happens, it would be interesting because that's Nintendo kind of saying, yeah, we're not going to port DS or 3DS games. If you play them again, we're going to have to remake them, because I was always wondering what they're going to do about emulating like Wii U, DS, 3DS, But at the same time, it's one of those things where now I am used to what Nintendo does. Would I still just wait for... Yeah, I wonder if that's how it works. They know they're going to get some initial Metroid Prime 4 sales on the Switch, even if it's going to be on Switch 2. but they also know that they're going to get people that are going to want to jump on a 2D Zelda, and not wait for a Switch 2, not have to wait for a Switch 2 to play it. So that could be the case. You heard them, boys. Emulate all the titles to get remakes, or just make a fan-made game. Yeah, it's interesting how some companies are totally fine with fan-made games and some aren't. It's Stevens in the chat. Good to see you. I'm with Adam. I prefer the classic fighting game story mode to the open world campaign, like that awful MK with Shujinko. I will say that there was the older Mortal Kombats, I forget what it was, Deception or something, with the open world story mode. I actually didn't mind that. But yeah, I do prefer the classic style because it's all about getting through the fights and then seeing the ending. Yeah, I just don't want to waste my time with other stuff. Let's see. Bakuru and Long Mane right here. Don't know those characters. That it's disappointing of me. Was that Bloody Roar 5? Haven't played that. A Deception had a cool story, but was a bit excessive in places. Yeah, maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. There was this thing where you can like unlock a character if you were at a certain place in the world at a certain time. They would pop up. It was one of those random things that. Okay, I need to play Bloody Roar. Okay, well let me see something real quick. Bloody Roar. If I wanted to play it right now, and I start with the first one, it's on PlayStation Network. Okay, so maybe I'll do that. I've been wanting to do a series on this channel where I play games I've never played before, never thought of playing. Yeah, that might be it. All right, let's jump into, unless I had something else, I don't think. Yeah, let's jump into some news. I'm actually going to refresh real quick just in case something new came in. Pick long and master the 6 potentially because the Hearts in the Way hit combo. Okay, you guys are getting me excited. Super Mario Bros. 2 movie will release in April 2026. Okay, so maybe that is the I'll put it here. Maybe that's the title. I'm just saving that for the thumbnail. That's the title of this. I think that's going to be the most interesting thing because it's already news. Okay, Sean Layden's advice on making games faster and cheaper. This guy is pretty smart. He was like the former head of PlayStation Worldwide Studios. It was back in 2020 when Sean Layden began sounding the alarm around rising game development costs. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was talking about this stuff way early on. And then he was replaced at Sony. And now Sony's going through their stuff. Oh, that's pretty cool. So there was a whole video on this on GameIndustry.biz with Sean Layden. I'd probably need to check the whole thing out. The large blockbusters, when people are swinging for the fences, they're coming in at 150 to 250 million bracket, and that is a huge burden on the game development business model, on the publishers for carrying that, and that's led to some of the traction in the marketplace that we've seen. Make your game shorter. One thing developers should ask themselves is whether bigger really is better. We live in a world where only 32% of gamers actually finish the game, so we're making a lot of a game that 68% of the people aren't seeing. Layden explains, so should we continue to build games that are unlikely for most of the people to even see the end of it? It costs to build to the end. You can tighten that up. If you can make your games on a shorter timeline, that will reduce your cost. It'll get you to market faster. You can please your customers sooner rather than always telling them to wait 45 years for your next opus. I think we just have to re-examine how we present ourselves in our games to the gaming public. You know, that's pretty interesting. About that 32% of games actually finish the game. Because I remember I was looking at that. There was that thing, with Elden Ring, wasn't it? Where it was only 30-something% of players even got far enough in Elden Ring to be able to play the DLC. Now, does that stop them from making a boatload of money? No. But then they're spending a boatload of money to get there. So, again, Sean Layden is making some good points. Layden believes length is not necessarily the deal breaker that it used to be. It was such a big deal in the early days of gaming, and the PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 generations was like your top review point. We kept judging games by, how much gameplay you get for your dollar, and maybe that was a decent metric back in times when the average gamer was late teens, early 20s, which means they're time rich and money poor. So having to sit down for that long of a sesh to get through some huge RPG seemed reasonable. I just think how the average age of gamers is approaching early 30s. You got the flip. They're more rich and time poor. You have to really kind of strap on some free time if you're going to sit down with Red Dead Redemption 2 and get through that. We need to understand what our customers are looking for. Do they want a high-impact, high-enjoyment piece of gaming, which may not include large sections of the game where you're going on a quest to find this blue rock to bring it to the red troll, and he'll open a door for you? It's just kind of like burning time. It's called grinding for a reason. Yeah, it's interesting stuff here. There is a balance, because part of that is the game. Either there's a little weird fleck of something. Yeah, it's in how much of it too is changing habits nowadays. Just think of how much, is it really about time or is it really about attention? I think it's a little bit of both also, because you can people can make the time for things if they really want to, but it's what they want to put their attention on. I've learned that now that I'm at my age, even though it was hard with, kids and family, wife and all that. Like, if you can really manage your time if you put in the time to manage your time. But yeah, I wonder, there's probably a bunch of things going on here. Budgets are probably inflated. Games probably don't need to be as big as they need to be. So I think he's making some pretty good points here. And he has in the past. Stop chasing photorealism, I think, is a good point. We're in the realm of graphical differences that only dogs can hear. That's a pretty interesting quote. Yeah, because, I tell you how little graphics actually do mean when I think gamers are talking about the way the game looks, and really what we're talking about is the art style. Because if a game has a really good art style, it doesn't matter how many polygons it has. No one is saying, look at that model. It only has 9,257 polygons. No one's really counting. Yeah, I think there's a lot that could be done to reduce those budgets, but I don't know, and I really, truly don't know this, how much of having those inflated budgets are really just to fill the pockets of the executives, because we've been seeing that even with Hollywood. The other day I was looking into the budget of that Jennifer Lopez movie Atlas, and the budget was $100 million, but Jennifer Lopez as executive producer and star got $16 million. So out of $100 million, originally, what were they thinking the budget of a movie with the special effects were going to be? And then they have to think, okay, execs are going to get their payout. Like, you see how, there's millions put in for executives for developing a concept, and it's like, is that even necessary? Okay, so an executive producer should get, $5 million? That seems like a lot. But I'm not in that realm. So that's what's going on here. And I think sometimes people don't consider. You get $100 million. If you have 5 executive producers, they're each making a few million. That's going to add up. That could be toward the movie. That could be toward what is the cost disparity or the pay disparity between an executive or a camera operator. So I think it's the same thing with video games. I would love to see a budget plus what the execs are getting paid. Because I think that's what it is. A lot of these companies are trying to hold on to that. How much can they milk out of something before that causes them to lose sight of it and it fails? Which is actually just what happens all the time. Let's see. Autonomous stylized is better than hyper-realism every time. Maybe not every time, but I think most of the time. I think a hardcore FPS military shooter should look hyper realistic, but then there's the times where most of the time you're seeing these realistic looking, I think, assets maybe that are gotten from an asset store, and then it all starts looking like the samey kind of doll type stuff. And there's something about adding that little bit of stylized in this, not going as far as a Warcraft. World of Warcraft kind of kicked off a style that then went into Fortnite. It's kind of a Disneyfication of things. kind of a Western anime look, if you will, that we've kind of, as a culture. It's funny because I feel like in Japan, there was a sort of style that was universally agreed upon. I guess by the time we got to the 80s, maybe. I don't know my anime history that well. In the West with animation, I don't think that really became a thing until like the 2000s, with Pixar. Well, how Disney made their CGI films, and then we see like Warcraft, Fortnite, that type of look. I think it's very interesting. Remember when they tried to shame execs by requiring them to share their salaries and it backfired, making them more competitive, driving CEO salaries up? Oh, I don't remember that, but that's hilarious. That sounds like something that would happen. Yeah, that's... Yeah, I think that's it. I didn't really get too much. Let's look at some other headlines real quick. I just don't think there's a lot. Yeah, watching, like, everyone's just like waiting to watch the direct. I'm actually going to be working during the direct, so I'm not even going to be watching it. It looks like the original Resident Evil could be re-released for PC. Yeah, there was a ratings. Yeah, ratings suggest. But I wonder what this means. Re-release the original, re-release the remake, or make a proper remake. Like the newer ones. A second Uncharted movie is officially in the works. Cool. Oh, that looks neat. I don't know. I like the isometric look. I don't know what's going on there. Lots of colors. Yeah, EA CEO Andrew Wilson earned $25.6 million. So you see what I mean? Couldn't he have just got 24 million and spread that other 1.6 across? This is what I'm talking about. That seems excessive compared to what's going on with everyone. And I think they made an announcement where the new FIFA is going to be on Game Pass now? That was probably part of his payday. He has a base salary of 1.3 million. Well, it's a lot of money. I could do a lot of good with that. Well, that's going to be it for today's episode. Yeah, not too much going on because I think the main thing is going to be the Nintendo announcements coming soon, which maybe I'll talk about tomorrow. So, all right, all. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We'll do this again tomorrow. Until then, be cool.